Howdy guys, welcome back to another one. Lately, we've been getting quite a few requests actually to do some 410 defensive slash predator control loads. So, what I've come up with here is 30 pellets of lead BB. That is it's right at 11/16 of an ounce, which is the standard payload for 3-inch 410. With the buffer, if you want to use buffer, I'm not today. It will be a 11/16 ounce load, excuse me. But this is a pretty cool load nonetheless. You don't typically see 410 loaded with lead BB, but we're going to do it. If you think about it, it actually makes somewhat good sense here. Lead BB at around 1200 FPS is a great home defense load. Doesn't matter if it's coming out of a 10 gauge or a 410. The pellets will still be carrying the same amount of energy. The 10 gauge will just have a lot more of them, which is more effective on target, but still, it's 30 pellets of lead BB at about 1200 FPS. I don't think that is something that anyone's gonna just get up and ignore, if you know what I mean. And if your gun patterns it well enough at appropriate distances for a 410, well, this can absolutely be a good coyote, fox, predator, animals like that load. That being said, I'm going to put this together and you guys take it for what you will. So, the components we're using are a once-fired Remington 3-inch nitro hull. Actually, this is the Express long range, I think, but same hull. We're using a Shadat CX2000 primer. I already have this resized and reprimed. We're using little gunpowder, 12. The OMV 410 wad. Why are we using that wad? Well, that's because I'm stacking these pellets by twos. The lead BB shot happens to stack by twos very well in the OMV 410 wad. The Claybuster AA 410 wad, they don't stack by twos in it. The bottom of the wad is a little bit too narrow, but it does open up towards the top. I guess you can call it a tapered wad. Shot cup, tapered shot cup. And they will stack by twos in the upper part of the wad, but not in the lower. So we're not using this one, even though this is a better wad for patterns. We're using the OMV 410. Next, we're using Ballistic Products BAM 185 cal. This is not technically BB, it's BB plus. True BB shot is 18 caliber. Triple B, I've gone over this before, is 19 caliber. This is 185. It's right in between BB and triple B, making it BB plus. The lead payload weight on this is 0.66, so 200ths off from 11/16 of an ounce, which again is the standard payload in 3-inch 410. And lastly, you'll need a little bit of, well, I'm using fiber cushion wad for an overshot card just because I have a whole bunch of it. If you have 410 overshot cards, use them. I ain't got none. I'm just using some fiber cushion wad that I've torn up into chunks, essentially. So, without further ado, let's get that in there. These go together quick. The OMG 410 wad, well, that ain't gonna fit. Gary Caskey's wad nudger. Make sure it's on the powder good. This is a straight wall shell, not a tapered, and that is a straight wall wad, so no need to flare out the bottom of the wad, the gas seal, or use paper towel or napkin, anything like that. This wad is good to go with this haul. Next, we need 30 pellets of lead BBs. BB plus, technically. But these stack by twos in here, and you will need a wad tamper, wad nudger, whatever you want to call it. Or you could use like a fine point Sharpie, that'll fit down in it. Anything small enough to fit down inside that wad. But go ahead and stack them by twos. It comes up almost where it needs to be for proper stack height, but you will need, again, a little bit of an overshot card, or in my case, fiber cushion wad. So I have all 30 pellets in here. I'll try to show you, but it's probably not going to work out. These will, yeah, they're going to spill. But it is just below the line where the crimp is. So we do need, again, a little bit of filler. This is just like loading a tiny version of 3.5-inch 12 gauge or 10 gauge. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that little tiny shell, stacking pellets by twos. It's like loading tiny big shells. So we have our fiber cushion wad in place. I again just tore a little chunk off and mashed it in there with the wad nudger. And it's ready to crimp. These have a 6-point crimp on it. I'm going to pinch that in just a little bit to help me find the right spot where it needs to be for the, what is this, OMV or GOP? OMV 36 gauge crimp starter. If you don't know, 36 gauge is just 410. Some countries call it 36 gauge. Sometimes even American loads call it 36 gauge. I know Federal's done that before. But we have the pre-crimped form. I'll explain that. The reason why 410 is sometimes referred to as 36 gauge is because starting with 10, the gauges step down in increments of 4. No, sorry, it's 12 gauge, not 10 gauge. 12 gauge, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and the next in line from that would be 36 gauge. However, there is no 36 gauge. They just do that out of convenience to prevent confusion while confusing as many people as possible. 36 gauge is just 410, but we are ready to use the OMV Rasor, which is the middle crimp. I know you guys can't see it, but that's what I'm doing. And it does this. It creates a crease around the middle of the crimp, this, top part of the hull. And once you final crimp this, if you had a mech, I'm using a Lilo at all, obviously, or use a GOT BN2, or in this case the OMV crimp finisher, that will look like a factory shell. The OMV Rasor comes in 9 different gauges, even 8 gauge. And they are an indispensable tool to have, in my opinion, if you want factory style crimps off of out of new hulls. It's a must-have for me. So I'll finish this off camera. It's just easier to do it that way rather than setting up a tripod and everything. But sorry guys, I know some of you guys want to see that, but it's just a lot of work getting that set up for a shot. But I'll get back with you in one moment. And here's the end result. Yeah, this one came out a little bit lopsided. That was probably my fault. The overshot card was probably a little bit uneven, and one side sank a little bit more than the other. That's fine, we can live with that. There's no buffer in this, and there's not actually even a pinhole, so nothing to worry about there. This shell is good to go. And it's tapered. That'll feed in any semi-auto. I know we don't do a lot with 410, but it honestly is a lot of fun to load for. It's a lot of fun to shoot too, especially at clays. It is a challenge hitting them with clays, especially with only a ½ ounce a shot and a 2.5 inch shell. Makes it a little bit of a challenge, to be honest. But if you're using 3 inch, you have number 8 or number 9 shot, it does make it a lot easier, but still a little bit of a challenge. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this load. Is it a good idea? Is it not such a good idea? Would you use it? Would you not use it? What would you do differently here? But I think that's going to do it for me. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Instagram, Rumble, and merch store will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next one.